All right, today we're going to go on a little adventure. And no, we're not heading off to some faraway land. Instead, we're diving into a way of thinking, a mindset that's actually open to every single one of us. We're talking about science. And believe it or not, it all kicks off with one simple, super powerful question.
So where does a journey like this even begin? Well, like pretty much all great explorations, it starts with a moment of pure wonder. It's that feeling you get when you look up at the world around you and just ask, why?
Okay, picture this. Imagine you're standing somewhere totally remote, like Nubra in Ladakh, miles away from any city lights. You look up and the sky is just on fire with thousands and thousands of stars. It's one of those sights, right? It just fills you with this incredible sense of awe and makes you think, wow, what is my place in all of this?
I mean, I'm willing to bet you felt that. And that simple question, why do they shine? That feeling is the exact same one that has been driving human discovery for, well, forever. That's the spark right there.
And that spark, it has a name, of course. It's curiosity. And look, this isn't some rare skill that only a few people have. Nope, it's a basic, fundamental part of being human. Think of it as the engine that powers every single scientific journey, from just noticing something small all the way to a breakthrough that changes the world. And it all starts with just asking why.
Okay, so if curiosity is the engine, what does the road trip actually look like? Well, a really great way to think about it is to imagine one giant, massive, ongoing puzzle. Yeah, that's the core idea right there. Science is basically this huge, unending jigsaw puzzle, and we're all together working on it, trying to figure out how all the little pieces of the universe fit. But here's the thing about this puzzle. It's never finished. It's not static. Every time we find a new piece and put it in, it doesn't just fill a gap. It actually shows us the shape of the pieces we still need to find. And you know what? Sometimes we realize a piece we put down ages ago is actually in the wrong spot. But that's not a failure. Not at all. That's progress. That's how we slowly but surely get a clearer, more accurate picture of how the world really works. So we've got this giant puzzle. The big question is, how do we actually find the pieces and figure out where they're supposed to go? To do that, we need a toolkit, right? A reliable method for solving problems. And that toolkit has a name, the scientific method. Now, I know, that might sound a little formal, maybe even complicated, but I promise you it's a process you're already using all the time. Really, it all boils down to these 5 simple, logical steps. First, you observe something. You notice something that's interesting or that you just don't get. Then you question it. You form a real question about it. Step 3, you guess. You come up with a possible answer. Step 4, you test it. You actually check your guess with an experiment or just by looking closer. And finally, you analyze what happened. Did the results answer your question? It's just a natural step-by-step way of figuring stuff out. And this is the coolest part. You aren't just learning about this method right now. You're already a pro. You use it every single day, probably without even thinking about it.
I mean, think about something super simple. Your pen just stops writing in the middle of a sentence. Bam, you've just made an observation. And what's your very next thought? It's a question, isn't it?
So you make a guess, a hypothesis, if you want to get fancy. The most obvious one? The ink is finished. And there you go, that's the guess step right there.
So what's the test? Easy. You check the ink refill. If it's empty, hey, your guess was spot on. But if it's not, well, now you've learned something new. You throw out that first guess and make a new one. Maybe the ink just dried up. See? That's the self-correcting part of the process in action. Okay, let's try another one. Your bicycle tire is flat. That's your observation and your question all rolled into one. So, how do you test your guess about where the leak is coming from? Well, you run a little experiment. You take the inner tube out and dunk it in a bucket of water. And what happens? A little stream of bubbles tells you exactly where the hole is. That's your evidence. That is the test phase, clear as day. Seriously, this way of thinking is absolutely everywhere once you start looking for it. It's the cook wondering why the doll keeps boiling over. It's the electrician checking the fuse box before they bother changing the light bulb. It's just the basic way we all solve problems. All right, let's bring this all home. What's the big takeaway here? What does it really mean that we're all using this method all the time without even realizing it? Well, here it is. This is the whole point. Science isn't really about lab coats and bubbling beakers or super complex math.
At its very heart, it's about the process. Anytime you ask a question and you take logical steps to find an answer, you are, in a way, being a scientist.
So please, remember this. The scientific method isn't some strange system you have to memorize from a textbook. It's more like a software update for the brain you were already born with. It's just about being a little more structured, a little more organized with that curiosity you already have. And that's what makes it so powerful. It gives us a reliable way to check our ideas against what's actually real, to get closer to what is true, instead of just sticking with what we think is true.
And the best part of all this, the adventure literally never, ever ends. That jigsaw puzzle we talked about, it's infinite. For every single answer we find, we uncover a dozen new, even more interesting questions. The universe is just packed with mysteries, all of them just sitting there, waiting for a curious mind like yours to come along and start asking questions. So next time something makes you stop and wonder why, or how does that work? Just remember you've already got the toolkit you need to start finding the answer. Think of that feeling as your personal invitation to the adventure. So I'll leave you with this. What will you question next?